Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. If you would like to support this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called Shouldn't Be This Rude. I work in a business building that is next to a very large apartment/condo complex. There have always been signs about towing unauthorized vehicles, and the owner of the building frequently reminded apartment management of this. After working for a small business in this office building for many years, the owner restriped the parking lot. This left us with very narrow spaces. In the corner, where our office employees have parked for a decade, they removed a no parking strip that kept cars from parking at a 90 degrees angles to each other too closely. Now, if I parked in the normal corner, my back end blocked my coworker from being able to get out of her space. Also, any customers of other offices that parked next to us were dodging us due to too narrow spaces. We are the only business whose employees get to work at 6:30 AM. So we started parking slightly crooked and next to each other to take up a grand total of one extra space and give ourselves space to avoid dings. And at the same time, the two cars at the 90-degree angle corner spots don't get blocked in. I park the most crooked because I'm in that corner and need to allow my coworker to get out. Enter Karen. Karen parks a couple of spaces down from me next to her coworker. I heard mumbling as she goes around the apartments about how rude some people are in their parking. There are many spots open at this time in this off-limits parking lot. But that's not all. Later, while we are all inside and can look out the window to the parking area, she comes back to her car for something. This time, as she leaves to walk back around the fence to the apartments, she stops at my car and writes in the dusty window with her finger some nasty words. Now, normally we put a sticker on an unauthorized car parked in our spots, so we don't have to ruin someone's day if they didn't notice all the tow away signs. But Karen here not only parked where she wasn't allowed, but then vandalized an authorized car that was parked there. Not only was it uncalled for, but as a professional business, having our clients pull in to see this vulgar message does not lead our clients to feel this is a professional environment. Everyone was ticked off, but I am mild-mannered and I was livid. Okay Karen, game just leveled up. I have no legal or other requirements to place a warning sticker before calling for a tow truck. It took 30 minutes and her car was towed. A couple of hours later, she wandered into our office space to ask if we had seen her car. We smiled politely and said, "Oh, you must be the lady that wrote those nasty words on our coworker's car. Yeah, your unauthorized parking in a private parking lot got your car towed. Sorry, not sorry." And instead of giving her the number and name of the towing company, we pointed at the sign with the contact info and sent her out to get it herself. Turns out she was visiting her grandbabies at her daughter's apartment. Way to go, Grandma Karen. I think my coworker may have sarcastically mentioned something to her about setting such a good example. Normally, the towing sign is just a threat. The next story is called Extra Onions. This happened years ago. I was working at a McDonald's on a highway rest stop as a teenager over the summer. I was making the burgers in the back when a belligerent customer came up and ordered a cheeseburger with extra onions. He made sure to emphasize, "I want extra onions," loudly and repeatedly. He was banging his fist on the counter because the last time he ordered extra onions, there weren't enough onions on it. My manager overheard the order as well because the customer was being loud and rude to the cashier. I looked over at my manager and he gave me the nod. He knew what I had in mind and that he would have my back. Standard cheeseburgers are supposed to have a little sprinkle of this diced onion mix. I proceed to pile on about a cup of diced onion on top of the burger. To keep it from spilling off the burger, I alternated a slice of cheese between the thick onion layers. So a thick layer of diced onion and cheese ended up on this burger, along with the other toppings. I microwaved it so the melted cheese fused with the onions to keep it all together as best as possible. Wrapped it up carefully and put it out for the cashier to pick up. It was as tall as a Big Mac and weighed 3 times a normal cheeseburger. The cashier picked it up and her eyes grew wide as she hesitantly bagged it, glanced at the manager as he waved her on and walked back to her register. The customer snapped the bag out of her hand and says, "This batter has extra onions on it, or I'll be back." We watched the guy grab his condiments and napkins and head to the seating area, so the manager stayed at the counter waiting for any blowback. It wasn't busy, so we sent a staff member to go check on the napkin station that was near the guy to see his reaction as he opened up his onion burger. Sure enough, he unwraps the burger, looks at it inquisitively as onions and cheese spill out the sides. He does a little nod and smirk, like this was exactly what he was looking for, and takes a huge bite out of it. He chews a couple of times. Then his eyes go wide as he realizes his mistake and immediately spits it out onto the tray. He sits there sheepishly for a few moments with an embarrassed look on his face while he inspects the burger more closely. You can see him ponder his next move while he drinks his soda and munches on fries. He tries scraping off some onion onto the wrapper, but the cheese and other toppings are coming with it. This basically left him with a plain hamburger and bun. He tries unsuccessfully to reassemble the burger with less onion and some of the other toppings. But it was a big pile of onion, ketchup, mustard, cheese with a single pickle. He takes another bite and then throws it down on the tray in disgust. He finishes his fries, tosses the burger in the trash, and we watch him leave in embarrassment. He doesn't even glance back to the counter on his way out. The third story is called Even on Purpose. I worked at a GameStop when it was still pretty hot. At that point in time, we were forced to ask if people wanted to buy a small insurance on every disc we sold. It covered all damage. If people came back with a disc with insurance, we replaced it, no questions asked. It was like 20 minutes till closing on a weeknight. I'm doing as much close prep as I can get away with when Douchebag and his friends enter the store. Obviously bored and just wasting time, but since I'm alone in the store, I greet them and let them look around for a bit. Douche brings up a game to the desk and I ring him up. Would you like to buy insurance on this game? We cover all damages. In a split second, he lights up like he just had the most genius idea in the world. All damage? Even if I break it myself, on purpose? Yeah, I can see clear as day where this is going, and so can his friends who start chuckling. I play along. Yep, all damage, no matter what. No questions asked. He buys the insurance, I bag it and hand it to him, and they walk literally just out of the store before stopping. He pulls out the game, takes out the disc, and looks me straight in the eye while he snaps it in half. His friends are dying from laughing. I'm just smiling politely. He walks back in, hands me the game, and goes, "This is broken. I'd like a new one." Our system would warn us in the corner of the screen if we sold the last copy of something. That disc was the last one we had in the store. Of course. Unfortunately, I do not have any more copies in store, so I have to have it shipped from one of our other locations. They close in 5 minutes though, as we did. But I will leave a note for the manager to put in a transfer order. It should be here in 3 to 5 work days. If you write your number here, we will call you when it arrives. His friends are wheezing from laughter at this point, because it becomes obvious that D totally played himself and now has to wait a week for his game. Lesson? Be nice to retail workers. The last story is called Change the System. I worked for a company where we worked away most weeks. The existing system was simple. Hotels were booked by the company. However, the boss decided to change the system to save money. He believed it would force us to travel 2 to 4 hours each way per night on top of an 8 to 10 hour shift. The lower paid workers complained, but the higher paid knew we could use this to our advantage. One of the guys negotiated with hotels. Free breakfast, evening meals and drinks included, but not on the invoice. This meant we always topped the maximum £100 per night he allocated for hotels. On his previous account he paid 60 to 70 per night. This also meant it freed up our £25 tax-free evening meal money. If breakfast was included on the invoice, he would deduct it from the £25. To keep everyone happy, the higher paid ones paid for the lower paid ones with an Air Miles reward credit card. They also set up reward accounts with the hotels. It was great. We were all planning free holidays with the hotel rewards and Air Miles, and we were £125 per week better off. Unfortunately, the boss realized how badly his plan panned out, and he reverted back to paying for the hotels himself within 6 weeks. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.